Well, let's get right into our recaps. Is there anyone that you want to start with in particular, Sean?
I think maybe let's do Orange County first.
Let's start with your first impressions on the Housewives here. Anyone stand out to you?
I think I took the most notes about Emily. I just found her the most interesting. And I also get the sense that she might be a bit younger than the bulk of them. Her and the New York one, Gina. Yeah.
Gina? Yeah.
So yeah, I get the sense that they're a little bit younger. Because like to me, Orange County feels like the Gen X Bravo show to Vanderpump's like millennials kind of energy.
Yeah.
But Emily and Gina, I think, are contra that. But Emily, I think I just felt like the most human, like the least Stepford robot. I also really do like, very minor, but her husband seems like a normal schlubby dude. Like he comes home from work in like a polo shirt and a backpack, which again is so not the vibe of the rest of the Orange County feel, I think. Like we're going to take a pink boat to what is clearly a 4-figure bill dinner at Nobu with Tom Ford candles. And all that.
Yeah. I thought that the scenes that we got between her and Shane at home, where she has this emotional call from her mom, I don't know, that's kind of sweet. It's not the most compelling thing in the world, but it kind of helps round out her arc this season. So, I'm not mad at it.
Are you sure?
No, yeah. You know what? If this was all that Emily was doing this season, then I'd be like, okay, let's get this over with. Let's move on. But I do think that she is doing some things that are interesting this season, and we see her needle during this boat trip and like at Naboo, whatever the restaurant is. We see her kind of needling and trying to make stuff happen, and it was really effective because we did see that conflict happen on the boat. But we're probably getting ahead of ourselves once we start talking about that scene. Did you have any other thoughts on the cast here, or did you want to jump into your highlights?
I'm going to go to my highlights. I'm sure it's a highlight for everybody, but like the weakest napkin throw of all time to start a fight. Really, really love that whole scene.
Have you ever seen a strong napkin throw?
I've seen stronger than that.
Napkin's not an easy thing to
but
throw.
you can ball it up a little bit. You can get some like that trebuchet action. You could throw it harder than just sort of like wafting it over while yelling at someone. That whole thing, that's Tamra, right? Throwing it in the napkin and then like storming out and like coming back in like, I need tequila to nobody in particular, is like really good TV. Love that whole scene.
I think one of the most interesting things during this whole episode was not just the napkin throw, but the fallout from it. Because I think, yes, it was like a great TV moment for Tamra to create. She really leaned into that. But I think that she kind of exposed herself and gave some opportunity, because she shouldn't have left the table. She should have like stayed at the table and stepped on Jen's neck to finish her off and make Jen storm out, so that she wasn't the one to like storm off. Because as soon as she did, Gina immediately capitalized on this, and while she was outside of the restaurant or doing whatever she was doing with Shannon, the deck was reshuffling real fast at that table. The relationships were changing so fast, and everyone was talking. And if Tamra was there, that wouldn't have happened, and Tamra could have like stayed on top of what was happening socially within this group. But she left. And
my favorite part about that is that when she comes back, she asks that acting coach who's like randomly there and barely knows anybody for a recap. She's like, kind of like, what did I miss? The acting coach is like, okay, yeah. So Gina was saying that she feels like she's a fake friend, because it's so great that she just turns to her for a recap. I love that.
Yeah, that's amazing. It also speaks to like Tamra's sense about being a housewife. It seems like she like hurried back to that table once she realized that maybe I need to be present for the fallout on this, and immediately turned to someone who has really no skin in the game to like okay, can you catch me up in an unbiased way?
Also, she immediately switches from like throwing a napkin at somebody to like satirizing the fact that she threw a napkin, like with like Jen's still sitting right there fuming. It's just, I love how like quickly things move in Tamara's mind. It's just like popping balls all over the place, like one of those little kids' toys where you push the little like fake vacuum and balls are popping. Just it's just constantly shifting in her mind. She is such a chaotic mind. It's so beautiful. I loved watching Tamara's performance throughout that whole thing. I love watching her go to the bar and saying to some random guy, "I hope you get snatched tonight." I love, and I love that now that like Shannon's like made up with Tamra, Shannon's just like her like sidekick, just like trotting around, being like slightly shocked and befuddled, and be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Oh, you shouldn't have done that," the whole time while she's just going off, just being a fucking nut.
Shannon is the Rick to Tamara's Morty.
Yeah, I thought that this scene was amazing. I thought we got like one of the best confessionals of the episode was when Emily was like, "How many napkins need to smack you in the face before you say something negative about Tamra?"
Because it's more than one.
Yeah. One other thing that I really liked about this scene was how Gina handled Heather. I've said it like many times on this podcast so far. I think that Gina's just having like such a fantastic season, both coming across very authentic in how she's managing relationships, but also it's like very strategic. I think she's seeing the playing field for what it is, and she's really knowing how to kind of like handle the relationships. She comes pretty close to like almost overplaying it a bit, because it seemed like she was like really dwelling on things, but you know, she made sure that she got like confirmation from Heather, and Heather was like, "Yes, I hear what you're saying, and like I'm going to work on that." I think she did a great job of kind of reestablishing the foundation of a really mutually beneficial relationship with Heather strategically, building up a side of pawns that she's able to manipulate to make things happen in this world.
I think it was a really good move to reconcile with Jenn as well too for Gina. I don't totally agree with you that she's been having a great season. I felt that her season's been a little rough, because I feel like she's been trying to work it. She's been trying to stir shit, cause problems, which is good. But I feel like she's been doing it in kind of an artless way, where it feels like she's just not minding her own business, and she's been getting a lot of blowback for it. And I think that she's been kind of deserving the blowback because she's been indelicate about it. But this episode in particular, I agree that I think she's been doing a good job mending fences and getting in a stronger position. And I think that like butting heads with Jenn over, and that's the other thing that I find a little bit hard to like about Gina, is that her criticisms have been like very judgy and Puritan, I feel, and that's just
very self-centered.
Sure, yeah, and I think like her attacking Jenn based on like, I understand that you've been somewhat indiscreet in your relationships. Like that's a no-go for me. It's triggering for me, and I get that it comes from a personal place, so I understand that. But I thought it was a bad look for her, because it's also burning bridges and makes her look like just like very judgmental. And so for her to like make a huge effort to like bury the hatch with Jenn, I thought was a good move for her. She needed that ally back, and I agree that when she gets like really into needling Heather and gets Heather to like concede that she was wrong, that was a strong move as well. Heather was kind of being a punching bag this whole episode, and she deserved it, because Heather said some bullshit in the past couple episodes. And to Gina especially, like when she said that shit about like yeah, your boyfriend's probably tired of putting up with your shit, or whatever the fuck she said. Like she said some dumbass shit. So like if she's been taking her blows this episode, she's deserved those blows.
And I think she's handled them well. Like she's taken them in stride. But just to like, you know, come to Gina's defense a little bit again, I feel like, you know, she's not that far removed from this infidelity. This is still like fresh. She only joined, I think, 3 or 4 seasons ago, and she was married at that time. So it's not like she's so far removed that this is so astounding that it would be very like triggering for her. It comes across as like more honest to me.
Sure.
I think she is using it strategically too, but like it does feel like an authentic thing that upsets her.
I don't begrudge her having like a kind of traumatic reaction to something in her past. I begrudge her using that against Jenn, because it's like, that's a YP, right? Like that's not like if you're triggered by Jenn, it's like not. It's because of problems that you've had in your life, which are real things and deserve sympathy and all that. But it's not. You shouldn't be taking that out on somebody else because they've had like a bit of infidelity in their life. It just feels very like judgmental to be like, I don't want to be around you because it's like knowing things about your life is triggering to me. It's like you need to figure out how to work on that on yourself. It's something that you need to own and figure out how to deal with, rather than like accusing other people as though they're aggressing you with their existence because of their like personal history.
Yeah, in the real world, yes. This is Real Housewives,
right?
So. But actually, like, I feel like she wouldn't be able to get away with this, and people wouldn't like stand up for it, and she would be getting a lot more blowback that she would deserve if Jenn were playing her hand better and being a bit stronger. We just posted a video on our YouTube channel where we were talking about this a couple episodes. We got a clip where we're talking about the weak decisions that Jenn is making and how she could be using this situation and in a way to make stronger choices and go on the offense a little bit, but she's just turtling and not doing anything with it, and just like letting people kind of get their punches in, as opposed to taking these attacks and like judoing them, or aikido, or whatever the one where you flip people around is.
Judo's the one where you use
that's
their
what we really want to see.
And then aikido's the one that Steven Seagal does.
So judoing. That's the magic one, right?
Yeah, aikido is magic, and if it's so magical that it'll make a stunt man choke you out until you poop yourself. So the story goes. I don't know if you've heard that one, but it's not Bravo.
We'll do a video essay on that specific thing on Bravo Outsider.
Might be onto Seagal Outsider if I want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, don't tempt me.
But she could be using these attacks and turning them around. She could be like, well, that's your problem, and then using this as a position to like attack back. And
she does that a little bit with Tamra, right? When she insinuates that Tamra was also like sort of hidden on Ryan. His name's Ryan, right? Yeah, and then she only like seeds the idea, and I think that's actually a strong move, to just seed the idea and then not look like you're being like petty, grasping at straws by trying to force it, to just kind of imply like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say anything more because I'm being the bigger person and not being crazy like you. I think that's also a strong look too.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think she's in the position to play that softly right now. Like, I think it's too late for her to do that. Maybe, it's easy for us to say as, from the outside looking in, but like, I think at this point she needs to come out strong, and anytime there's someone that is saying, oh, well, you know what, Gina, maybe you're being a bit unreasonable here, that's the opportunity that you have to really go on the attack when you've got people like rallied around you. But she didn't do that on the Montana trip, and she hasn't done that any other time. It seems like it's too little too late against a foe that is too strong. Tamra already has so many people on her side that are not going to want to immediately come to Jenn of all people's defense. It's interesting that maybe the most likely person to do that would be Gina, and that's the other person that she like has a very stressed relationship with. Cool. Sean, do you have other highlights here?
Mostly just like small stuff. In terms of like the blow up at the restaurant is my big scene highlight, but I really like the guy who loves to grill, that boyfriend that we only get a glimpse of, John, maybe. He seems very aware of the camera.
Okay, yeah.
But the little scene we get of him and Shannon, where they're making dinner, and like she keeps opening the fridge and something keeps falling out, and there's something wonderful, like small domestic scene that just, I don't know, had me cracking up. There's just this moment where she's talking about them getting another dog and stuff. She's So they're like, I worry about another responsibility. It's, yeah, you can't even open the fridge, right?
I'm not sure if you guys watched the same version of this that I did, but it had this like almost pop-up video style like commentary on it. Yeah, I thought that the pop-ups were really like painting John as being unreasonable, and it was like, coming up next, John is going to like avoid commitment, and it was just him being like very reasonable.
Yeah, it was called like never before seen, like SCENE.
Yeah,
but like that's why are you giving me a pop-up with a poor condensing of information you're going to show me 2 seconds from now? Like, I don't understand what the purpose of that
and
was.
very biased. Like,
yeah.
I didn't get that he was like avoiding commitment. He was like very reasonable about.
Well, okay, John had the funniest moment in the whole episode for me, where when Shannon started to get like a little serious, and she seemed to be like very getting in a pensive mood, and she's like staring off into space, and then John is sitting across from her, and he says, and I quote, "Okay, steak," and stands up and walks towards the grill.
That's his culture. He's like a middle-aged guy. It's like
so funny.
Those little pop-ups are like an executive summary for someone who didn't have time to watch the episode. They're like, just tell me what I'm supposed to feel. Okay, hate John, Heather, psychopath, whatever.
But like, was this not unreasonable? Like, Shannon does have like so much stuff going on. Like, why are you frantically trying to add another dog when you've already got 2 dogs?
She's got to worry about the college.
Too many dogs.
Address that question. Address that why she feels that way. Like, interact with it in some way instead of just saying steak and shuffling off.
You can't tackle these tough questions before getting some protein in you.
True. Yeah, you gotta nourish the old think bone.
I think like John knows when Shannon is wearing something that hasn't off-gassed enough, and he's just not going to engage.
Okay, what? Yeah, that the consignment store scene blew my mind. The whole off-gassing thing, like everybody has a thing they're weird about. Fine, okay, you're gonna buy secondhand clothes, sure, knock yourself out. But then they go and they're like, they get like a sweatshirt and a bag. It's like $3,300.
Oh yeah, the price was insane.
What?
You're paying for the off-gassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I take it the off-gassing thing is like a running theme with her, or did it just come up? So this was brand new information.
It just came up. Yeah, okay. This is brand new.
Amazing. Yeah, I could not follow it. I was like Googling, like, is off-gassing real? Like, what? It got me worried for a minute before I was like, I should not be. I don't need to base any of my experience with the world on Real Housewives of Orange County and their concerns,
especially on what Shannon believes.
Yeah.
Shannon seems very far into woo-woo shit, which is great. Good for her. I mean,
yeah.
I want to know what kind of targeted ads you're getting now, Sean, after that Google search.
Oh my God, between watching stuff like for talking to you guys and all the other stupid shit I have to Google, but anyway.
Any other highlights, Sean?
Okay, yeah, we covered the consignment. No, I think those are the main ones for me. Just the whole conspicuous, like, I know the Bravo universe, conspicuous consumption is like a big part of it's part of the fun, but this one's like on another level. Like, I think I met Nobu and the Tom Ford candles and the silver chopsticks with the oh, by the way, what do we think the actual Japanese idiom for too fabulous to shovel shit is? Like, was it a literal
she
translation?
Asked somebody to do that, and they were like, whatever. They just wrote like some random shit because they knew that nobody's ever going to check up on it.
Yeah, there was like someone on Fiverr that got that gig come across and was like, what the fuck is this?
It's just part of the credits to Acura that someone put on there.
Dylan, what were your highlights from this episode?
If we could just go back to the scene with Emily a little bit. First of all, I do think the delivery on the part of Annabelle was awesome when Emily mentioned that they want to get slip and slides, and she says, for women. Good showing from Annabelle there. But my favorite part, Sean, you mentioned that there is like a lot of great dogs. Always on the lookout for dogs. You know, they love a dog insert in these shows. Love to get some B-roll of a dog and stitch them in. And often one of my favorite parts in all time are in the Emily scene when they show the dog with a coat on his head,
Togo.
and he just looks like the most depressed dog you've ever seen. Yeah, Togo. And then, but the best part is like later on, they like start to get a little more emotional. She's talking about her mother. She's going to get off the other room to talk on the phone, and then we just get one more little shot of him still standing next to the door, still not being let in, still looking like the most depressed dog on earth. Just a little insert of him just staring at you, and then no, we're done with that. That was just a beautiful little insert of the world's saddest dog that people are laughing at, but never letting him inside, which is clearly all he wants.
Speaking of great dog content, how about the show opener where we got Ryan in his cowboy, his cute little cowboy costume with his like straw in his mouth, and like Tamra hands him his dog's ashes.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, because like not having any context here, is that Ryan always a cowboy, or is that like, did he just get back from Montana with them, or what's the deal there?
That's new this season. He's a cowboy now.
Oh, okay. A rich
showed
kid
up
who
at like a party they were having, and just like strolled in dressed in cowboy gear, and everybody's like, "Hey, he's a cowboy now." It was so great. It was so
amazing.
His last costume was like MAGA Ryan. He was like very very into the Make America Great Again, and
was he a January 6th?
A weird dude. Probably.
Don't check the tape. My favorite person in this episode was Shannon. I thought Shannon was amazing this episode, and I just really liked the sentiment she expressed when everybody's like, there's a lot of criticism going towards Jenn because Jenn's seeing this guy who is 110% going to cheat on her, and 120% already has cheated on her and will again, and everybody knows it, including presumably Jenn on some level also knows it, but Shannon unexpectedly mounting a very like emotional defense of her embracing this relationship regardless, when she says, well, like on the verge of tears in a confessional, Jenn may be an idiot, but let her figure that out on her own. That sounds like a dig in isolation, but the way she says it with passion, and she says it with feeling, and she says it with tears in her eyes,
like a parent.
I felt that. But that's a real sentiment that needs to be expressed. Yeah. Honestly, it is. Sometimes you gotta just do a fucked up relationship with a fucked up person because that's what you need. Maybe she is getting like what she's getting out of this, a good sex, feeling important, feeling like she's the center of his world, getting some sort of validation. Maybe what she's getting is actually worth the price that she's going to inevitably pay down the line. That's a hard conversation to have, but I feel like Shannon's gesturing towards that, and she says something about like, that's actually just what I want, is like that, like somebody to like make me feel that important kind of thing, and if it ends up being something painful down the line, maybe that's a trade-off that's sometimes worthwhile. And I thought seeing Shannon express that sentiment and being very emotional about it was kind of moving and unexpected, and I really liked that a lot. I found it touching.
Yeah, that's true. That is like totally a great take. And I think we didn't see what Jenn's relationship was like prior to coming on this show with her husband. Like, who knows? She's already probably received a lot from this relationship with Ryan, in terms of it giving her the power to leave a relationship that she was ultimately unhappy in. There's a lot of things that you can get out of a relationship that aren't necessarily the things that you immediately like think about as being a benefit. And you're right, I think that is something that Shannon kind of hints towards and seems to embrace. So yeah, that's a really good observation.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. And also just like, once again, going on a boat wearing the worst possible footwear for being on a boat. Why do they keep doing that? Somebody is literally going to break their ankle before this show's over. I cannot believe they keep doing that.
I think we covered most of my highlights. Either of you guys have any other thoughts before we move on to New York?
Heather's terrible fucking dress that she wears to Nobu, where she looks like she's dressed like a bad Greek restaurant. What was that? All these like like a pastiche of like welcome to Florida postcards or something. It was such a weird print. Absolutely insane.